In ancient Israel, the Israelites were oppressed by the Philistines for 40 years due to their disobedience to God. During this time, a man named Manoah from the tribe of Dan lived with his barren wife in the town of Zorah. One day, an angel of the Lord appeared to Manoah's wife. The angel said,
"Fear not, for the Lord is with you, and the Lord had heard the cries of the Israelites. Although you are unable to conceive, but would soon give birth to a son, this child was to be set apart for God from the womb. And you instruct not to drink wine, eat anything unclean, work out the boy's hair, as he would be a Nazirite, dedicated to God from birth."
Overjoyed yet fearful, Manoah's wife relayed the angel's message to her husband. Manoah prayed to the Lord, asking for the angel to return and provide further instructions on how to raise the child. God answered Manoah's prayer, and the angel appeared again to his wife while she was in the field. She quickly ran to fetch Manoah, who asked the angel how they should raise the child. The angel repeated the instructions given to Manoah's wife. She must avoid wine, strong drink, and unclean food, for the boy would be a Nazirite, consecrated to God from birth. Manoah, wanting to honor the divine messenger, offered to prepare a meal, but the angel instructed him instead to offer a burnt offering to the Lord. Manoah then prepared a young goat as an offering. As the flames consumed the offering, the angel ascended in the fire, and Manoah and his wife fell to the ground in awe. They realized that they had seen a divine being, and Manoah feared that they would die because they had seen God. However, Manoah's wife reassured him, saying that if God had intended to kill them, he would not have accepted their offering or shown them such wondrous things. In due time, Manoah's wife gave birth to a son, and they named him Samson. The child grew, and the Lord blessed him. The Spirit of the Lord began to stir in Samson, granting him extraordinary strength. As Samson grew into a young man, despite his victories, Samson's downfall was inevitable. It came in the form of a woman named Delilah, who lived in the valley of Sorek. The Philistine rulers knew of Samson's weakness for women and bribed Delilah to discover the secret of his strength. Delilah began to seduce Samson, using her charm and beauty to coax him into revealing the source of his strength. At first, Samson toyed with her, giving her false answers. He told Delilah that if he were bound with fresh bowstrings, he would become as weak as any other man. Delilah tried this, but when the Philistines came to capture him, Samson easily broke free. Delilah, undeterred, asked Samson again. This time, he told her that if he were bound with new ropes, he would lose his strength. Delilah tried this as well, but again, Samson broke free when the Philistines attacked. Frustrated but determined, Delilah continued to press Samson for the truth. He told her that if his hair were woven into a loom, he would lose his strength. Delilah did this, but once more, Samson broke free when the Philistines came. Delilah accused Samson of not loving her. Delilah continued to press Samson for the truth. He told her that if his hair were woven into a loom, he would lose his strength. Delilah did this, but once more, Samson broke free when the Philistines came. Delilah accused Samson of not loving her, using emotional manipulation to weaken his resolve. Day after day, she nagged and pressured him, wearing down his resistance. Finally, Samson could resist no longer. He revealed the truth to Delilah. His strength was tied to his hair, which had never been cut due to his Nazirite vow. If his hair were shaved, he would become as weak as any other man. Delilah knew that Samson had finally told her the truth. She sent word to the Philistine rulers, who brought her the promised silver. She then lulled Samson to sleep on her lap. While Samson slept, Delilah called a man to shave off the 7 locks of his hair. As the razor cut through his hair, Samson's strength left him. When he awoke, he found himself powerless. Delilah called for the Philistines, who seized Samson, gouged out his eyes, and took him to Gaza. There, they bound him with bronze chains and forced him to grind grain in the prison. The mighty Samson, who had once terrorized the Philistines, was now a blind and broken man, enslaved by his enemies. However, as he toiled in the prison, his hair began to grow back, and with it, a flicker of hope. The Philistines, oblivious to the significance of Samson's growing hair, continued to celebrate their victory over him. They attributed their success to their god, Dagon, and decided to bring Samson to a great feast in Dagon's temple to mock him further. During the feast, the Philistine lords and thousands of people gathered in the temple of Dagon. They called for Samson to be brought out so they could mock and humiliate him. Samson, led by a young servant, was placed between two large pillars that supported the temple. As the Philistines mocked him, Samson prayed to God, asking for one final act of strength to avenge his blindness. God heard Samson's prayer and granted him the strength he sought. With all his might, Samson pushed against the pillars of the temple, causing the entire structure to collapse. The temple fell upon the Philistine lords and all the people inside, killing more people in his death than he had in his life. In his final act, Samson fulfilled his destiny as Israel's deliverer. Samson's brothers and family came to retrieve his body from the ruins. They buried him in the tomb of his father, Manoah, between Zorah and Eshtaol. Samson had judged Israel for 20 years, and his story became a legendary tale of both triumph and tragedy. The story of Samson and Delilah is a powerful narrative about strength, weakness, and betrayal. Samson, blessed with extraordinary strength by God, was brought down by his own vulnerabilities and the deceit of a woman he loved. Delilah, driven by greed, betrayed Samson for silver, leading to his capture and downfall. Her actions serve as a cautionary tale about the dangers of manipulation and the consequences of prioritizing material gain over integrity. Despite his failures, Samson's story is also one of redemption. In his final moments, he turned back to God and sought strength not for personal gain, but to fulfill his divine calling. His death was a sacrificial act that delivered Israel from their enemies.
Kindly subscribe to Helen Bible Storyteller and turn on the notification bell as we bring to your screen so many fascinating Bible stories. And don't forget to like, share and comment. See you in my next video. Peace be unto you.